Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap. I am personally very excited about this Cubs on Tap. I know most people are probably sitting here going, the Cubs just lost 10-6. Why are you excited? I'm excited because we have a special guest today. We have Rachel at Cub Rachel on Twitter from the
That's
UK
me.
taking time out of her Friday night to jump on a microphone with me. So I am very excited about that. But first off, Rachel, welcome. We were
Thank you.
talking a little bit beforehand, and you said you've never done a guest appearance on a show. So
Never.
super excited to be the first to have you on as a guest.
Hopefully, it's going to be a good time. I'm sure it is.
Oh, absolutely. It absolutely will be. Like you said, though, we were talking before, we were like, well, the game itself was depressing, but there's some fun that we can get into. But I do want to start before we talk Cubs game. I want to talk just people to learn about you and like kind of where like your Cubs fandom started. I know you and I have had this conversation before on Twitter, but not everybody knows your story. So I'm gonna let you take the reins and just tell everybody, how you became a Cubs fan and especially being across the pond in London.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ron. So it's kind of shocking to some people, I think, as well, because I get so active in it all, especially on Twitter. But I only started properly following the beginning of last year.
That's
So
awesome.
pretty new, which was a fun year to jump in it all. Emotional. The two jerseys I did get are now no longer on the team, but that's fine. It kind of kicked off because I first visited Chicago in 2012, so quite a few years ago now. And I made a friend out there called Sarah, shout out Sarah, who is a huge Cubs fan, whole life, parents, goes back. And during lockdown, I was bored out of my head, and she basically said, "I'll watch a few games." And I watched a few games, sort of started to think about it, but then I was doing job stuff, all career stuff, boring. And then last year, I had the time, and I went all in. That's kind of how I do it. Could fully commit, and
I
haven't
love
looked
that.
back.
Heck yeah. I love that though. That's fun though, that you're just like, you know what? We're gonna go all in and go for it.
Full commitment.
I feel you with the jerseys because I'm actually wearing one right now. So I wore this because it was like Fergie Jenkins era. Obviously, today was the day. See, there they are. You got them all. You got them all.
Thanks,
They're ready
Davis.
to go.
Yeah.
There you go. See, but yours, at least like with Rizzo and with Bryant and like with those guys, like those will still be timeless, right? They'll have their place in kind of like Cubs history, right? That's like
Definitely.
wearing a Sammy Sosa or a Ryan Sandberg or a Fergie Jenkins or a Greg Maddux or any of the guys that were, beloved when they played in Chicago.
Mhm.
Mine's a Nicholas Castellanos jersey.
You know what though?
It
Fan favorite.
was awesome. I mean, I
Yeah,
got
I
it
love
like
him.
he came and like I think the press conference with like the Everyday's opening day was like
Mm.
all it took. I was like,
Yeah,
I absolutely love this dude.
yeah. That was
We
like
need to
Louis
get the jersey.
Suzuki when he was like, "I love Mike Trout." I was like, "I'm in.
Yes. You're like, you're my
Let's go."
favorite. I love you. Let's keep this moving. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. No, no, and I think honestly, like we're obviously somewhat new in Cubs on Tap. I think all of us, our panelists here, Juice, myself, Joey, we've all been Cubs fans pretty much our whole lives. But in terms of doing podcasts, covering the team, and things like that, we're pretty new to the game. We just started this back in 2019, so like we're new to the Cubs Twitter world, and so like it's been fun making friends along the way. And we made friends with you, and
Yeah,
I told you I've listened in on the UK baseball electric Twitter spaces. By the way, if anybody
yeah,
has time in the US, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Mondays because it's about 9 o'clock for you guys, I
yeah.
believe,
Nine
right?
o'clock.
Local
Yeah,
time. Absolutely need to go listen to it. I'm telling
yeah.
all Cubs fans right now, you jump in a lot when it comes down to the Cubs
I
talk,
have to. I have to get in there.
and
I can't not.
it is electric. Like it's cool seeing the fan base that's on the other side
Mm,
of the pond, essentially, is because like
yeah,
you're local and it's easy to be like, oh yeah, I'm a Cubs fan, whatever, blah blah blah. But like when you see that fandom literally in a country that's like the equivalent of the really die-hard Premier League fans that we have here in the
mm.
US. Like that's kind of how I identify as it. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really
you know.
similar kind of crossover, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
exactly. So it's cool. I like seeing the passion that everybody has, and again, like especially for being in the UK, like you're not rooting for your local team. Like it's a team that's in another country, and like so everybody's story of kind of like how they became a fan of their team is cool.
Exactly that. I think that's what's really, really kind of because obviously you guys like your fandom of the Cubs, etc., is fantastic as well. But the
Mhm.
way it is in the UK is that there's always such like a like rich story to someone's connection to it, and it's almost always a connection to a city or a person, which I
Sure.
think is so significant. Especially, I don't know, I find baseball more than any sport, the way that has that like romance to it,
Yes.
it was perfect.
Yeah, it does, and it's really cool. So, like I said, I tune in as much as I can at 3 o'clock on Mondays for me because I'm usually just working anyway. So I'll come hop in and just listen, and it's a great time. So I highly recommend people to go listen and see what's going on across the
Yeah, it's on
pond.
the MLB UK community page.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's again awesome. Like everybody that jumps in does an awesome job, and again, it's cool seeing all the different fan bases like
Yeah,
kind of take
kind of.
shots at each other too. I
Yeah, I
think
was
that
just gonna
might be my
say, I was
favorite
like, the
part.
last time I think you listened, I was going off about Milwaukee. So
Yeah. And oh, absolutely. It was incredible. I remember I listened back to it because I missed it. And I like clipped the like quote that you said out of it. And I sent it to you on Twitter. And I was like, this was amazing. Like, thank you for that
I had to
piece
do
of
it.
gold.
I had to
It
do
was
it.
it
Some
was great.
Milwaukee fan had come on before and started cussing us out. I was like, no,
No.
here I come.
They're like, my turn.
Yeah.
Let me get in here. But oh, that's awesome. Well, again, super excited to have you. Unfortunately, we don't get to talk about a win. Hopefully, before the season's over, though, we can get you back on for a
It'll
win.
happen.
And the energy levels will be a little better, will be a little more. I mean, again, I'm super excited because again,
And I'm honored to be here.
yeah, we get to have you for the first time you've ever done a show as a guest. So super excited about that. But obviously, I know you were watching along. We were talking back and forth. 10-6 loss. I mean, right out the gate, it kind of sucks because it's on Fergie Statue Day.
Yeah.
Super cool. I thought the statue
Mhm.
turned out beautiful, absolutely
Yeah.
beautiful.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, and I like the statue row that they kind of have done now in Gallagher Way there, right by
Mm,
Wrigley. I think that looks really nice. So,
yeah,
I mean, did
definitely.
you have any thoughts just on the Fergie stuff and kind of how all that played out today?
I think generally, like, it is a fantastic statue. I feel, especially in
It
sports,
really
you
is.
get so many of these statue reveals, and you're like, ooh.
Some of
I
them are
feel like the
bad.
Cubs don't. That doesn't happen. We seem
Yeah.
to have really good statues.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna take that. But I thought it was brilliant. I thought it looked really good. I like that Fergie liked it. Like the way he was picking out specifics in that interview with Taylor McGregor on Marquee, talking about how like that muscle moment right in between a pitch where he's really like gritted and
Hmm.
how he really appreciated that being in it. I thought was really, really nice because you could see that the people care.
Yeah. I was
So
gonna
it was
say,
really
like,
interesting.
it gives that kind of uniqueness to it that,
Mm.
again, you think like I think the perfect example of like what you said, like bad statues is also like bobbleheads. I think are a perfect example, right? Like,
Did
and
you
it's
see that
happened.
Zobrist one the other day?
I did. It was bad. It was really bad. It was so bad. But like that, and that happens a lot. And it's always there like
Mm.
some stupid pose where they're just like, it's never, yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
never anything exciting. So
Hmm.
I agree with you. I think that was super cool. They did a great job. It was cool seeing all the legends there. Billy Williams was there and many others. Also loved that Fergie said they were gonna crack a couple cold Budweisers and celebrate.
Oh,
As
and that shout out to the bleacher bums was nice as well.
Absolutely. Like Fergie knows what's up. Fergie,
Yeah.
Fergie, Fergie might have played for a few more teams, but that man bleeds Cubby blue, and it's
Hmm.
really cool to see. But outside of that, the game itself, not great. Kyle Hendricks really struggling today.
Yeah.
We got to see the effect of when the weather turns warm in Chicago. The wind blows out.
Big time. I mean, Fergie warned us.
Yeah.
He's like, guys, watch out. And it didn't go our way today. It didn't go our way because I feel like, we can blame the wind, but everyone had the wind.
Yeah,
It wasn't just them. So
exactly. And
it
and
does
the
suck.
Diamondbacks, they did a nice job just getting balls in the air. Like I
Yeah.
know I saw the tweets from you. I think every Cubs fan on Twitter was like, just put the ball in the jet stream and watch it fly. Like
Yeah.
just do it once. And we saw it finally, right? Like Morel
Mm.
did it later in the
Yeah.
game. Him and Vargas go back to back. We have a running joke here at Cubs on Tap that he's fart gas, not Vargas. That was Juice's doing. We can ask him again where that came from. I think it was just
Him.
spur of the moment when the team was kind of struggling last year, and he's just like, why this
Right.
guy? Like,
Right. No,
but
that was an exciting moment. That was a potential, I mean, fake rally, but it felt
yeah,
exciting for a sec there. And there are a few moments like that.
yeah. And I think the problem that we've seen too, and we saw it a little bit yesterday, and Juice and Joey talked about that on last night's show. So little plug there for everybody to go listen to that too if you haven't already. But was just that like the Cubs stranded so many guys over the last two
So
games
many
now, right?
guys.
I mean, how many times have they had bases loaded in this series already and not gotten anything out of it?
It's ridiculous, isn't it? And it's so frustrating. Like, you're putting in the work, you're getting on base, which is what we wanted.
Mhm.
So it's good to see they're getting there. But there's no point getting there if you're not going to do anything with it. And it's just continuous. It's like they get there and we panic and we're like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
It's like, hit it in the air.
Just put it
just
in the jet stream. Just get it up there. I remember, speaking of just putting a ball in the jet stream, last year I went to game 2 of the season. So it was Jake Arrieta's first game back with the Cubs. Obviously the old core was still there. Chris Bryant did that. He just literally put a ball in the jet stream. It looked like a routine pop out and it landed in the basket. So like sometimes you just gotta give it a little shove, see where it goes, and see what happens. But good to see Morel keep hitting today. He gets one. He
Yep.
did the right thing. Shot one into the jet stream.
Mhm.
Same thing with Vargas, but obviously wasn't enough. The game itself very depressing. Exciting part, and I know this is a guy you love, and this is why I wanted to bring this up, was Wilson Contreras getting ejected. And I think
Yes.
they were talking about it on the broadcast, and it's so true. Like today's MLB hitters know the strike zone so well,
Mhm.
especially
And he's a
catchers.
catcher.
Right.
How are
Like,
you gonna?
how are you going to question a guy that literally like frames pitches
That's
for a
his
living? Like
job.
he knows the strike zone, and it's like, and I think too a lot of that frustration. Like again, you and I talked about it before we jumped on. Like just the inconsistency of the umpire, right? Like Kyle Hendricks had number of pitches in that exact same spot in the start, and they were all called balls.
Yeah,
And
it was
then
like there were so many of them were 50-50, and it could have gone that way, but there was, and if there's that consistency, you can be like, okay, that's how he's seeing the zone. At least it's being for both of us, but it wasn't for both of us, and that was what's so frustrating.
yeah,
Especially when the bases were loaded and we were 2-2. That was
exactly. Yeah. And I mean, and Hap got frustrated with the umpire too. I
yeah.
was actually surprised that the ump would kept his cool that much. And was
I know.
like,
I thought if you say one more
let
thing,
him,
mate, you're
yeah,
gone.
let him have it just a little bit. But
Oh,
yeah, I mean, but again, like just Wilson Contreras, that fire, right? Like I think this is why people are, the hashtag extend Willie movement is very real.
and it should be.
In
The guy's the heart of the
Chicago,
team. He cares
yeah,
so much.
yeah, no, and he
Every
does.
at bat.
Yeah, and it's just it's refreshing, right? Like
Mm.
it's cool seeing that guy. Like it goes from the fire that he had today, right? Of like, hey, just letting this ump have it, because sometimes you just need one guy sometimes can be the scapegoat, right? And just take the bullet for the team of like
Yeah.
everybody's frustrated, just let it loose,
Yeah.
get it
Get
out,
the fire going.
yeah, like spark something in them, and then on top of it, like Wilson does that in every situation, right? Like big hit, walk off, or like his 100th, home run, big energy, right? He's super excited, he's pumped.
Yeah.
Today, obviously, the frustration lets it out, lets it loose. Love the little circle he drew and the bat spike. Yeah, no,
So good.
Marquis tweeted a perfect picture of the back spike too, by the way. Like I saved it. It was so good. So I highly recommend everybody to go look at it because it was great. And then like even bringing back too with the emotion and Wilson Contreras, right? Like Christopher Morel's first home run. Willie's
when you were
over the wall.
talking there,
Yeah.
he's like, he jumped out there, he was ready to go. It was,
Yeah.
that energy, that's what I mean. It's so special. And you don't, not everyone gets that, like has that energy to give. You need guys like that in the team.
Absolutely. And it's tough too because like right now where this team stands, right? Like a lot of the veterans on this team are either guys that are maybe soft spoken, like a Kyle Hendricks, or they're guys that just got here, right? Like a Jan Gomes or a Marcus Stroman. So like they're still kind of earning their keep in the organization as like respectable kind of vets. Willie's been around. I mean, Willie's been around
14 years with the organization, right?
Yeah,
like,
and
that's
I mean,
a long time.
And it would really be a shame to see really a guy that, again, you said it yourself. We've said it before here on Cubs on Tap, and I think everybody in Cubs Twitter has tweeted it at least once. Like the guy is the heart and soul of this Cubs team right now, and it's just like you want that kind of guy here to like mentor that next group, right? Like you want him around to be here for the Christopher Morels, for the Brennan Davises, for even the guys that are pitchers, the Caleb Killians, the Jordan Wickses of the world. Like his presence is going to do those guys so much good. And it would just be an absolute shame to potentially see him leave.
No, I mean, like, who else do you have on that level of like a vet with the Cubs? There isn't anyone else now. They've traded them all away.
Right.
And I think, like you're saying, like it would be great to have. I think you need that person. You need to have that kind of almost like a respected elder kind of position, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That can talk to the guys, can get them pumped up, knows what's going on, knows the ins and outs, has that experience to settle guys, and that will come through and care about the team in that way.
Yeah.
And he has all of that.
That he does. And something too that like I've thought about a lot, and I want to get your opinion on this too, because I think this is a really interesting point that maybe a lot of people don't consider.
Mm.
Like a big reason why Jason Hayward is still on this team is for the same reason, right? He's a guy that's super well respected. He's a a consummate professional, the type of guy that you want there. It's also worth noting that these two vets are two guys that were very close with David Ross as a player, because Jay Hay was boys with Ross in their time in Atlanta. And then obviously here you saw the respect, right? The whole 2016 season, Jay Hay paid for a suite for Ross out of his own pocket every time they went on the road. Just that respect level. And then Wilson was that young player with Ross as a catcher. So like, I think David Ross has had so much of an impact on Willie too. And I think that's a big reason why Willie loves the Cubs so much, is just the connections and kind of that the roots that he's planted within this organization. Like you said, 14 years, like literally half this dude's life, he's been a member of the Chicago Cubs organization.
It's like, it's a crazy amount of time. 14 years. Like,
it's insane.
What was I even doing 14 years ago? I don't know. 14 years.
Now you got me thinking of what I was doing 14
I was young,
years ago.
so
yeah, I don't know what I was doing. I was like, realistically, I was probably sitting in, we call it middle school. I know it's different in the UK. I know 6th, 7th, 8th is, we call it middle school. Or junior high is another term that's used in the US. But that was probably where I was. So I was probably, that might have been the Ron Luce NFL clothing phase, and that's a whole nother story that I'll leave for another time. I'll share that one with you later. Yeah, it's a little embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie. Those that know, but it's bad. But yeah, I mean, 14 years. So I feel like kind of taking in all the Wilson Contreras talk too is like. It's okay to see him, I think, explode like that today. Like, yeah, people are like, hey, we could still use his bat in the lineup. They had a chance to come back. Sure. But sometimes, again, look at when a manager gets tossed. A lot of the times they do that strategically because it's to kind of, light a fire under their team's ass.
Yeah.
And in today's case, Willie took care of it himself. Didn't even need Ross to get involved. He was like, nope.
I've got this, Dave. Don't worry.
Yeah. He's like, I got this one, Dave.
No, I think it's so good. Like, I think it's so right. And talking about that, like, again, not going too cheesy, and it's a business, it's a game, you need to win, and every game matters. But when you do almost have that, like, it becomes almost this family unit, you do need that person, that figure of person who's going to step up, who's going to step forward and have that rank. And I think it was justified. And I know people are going to disagree and they say he should have settled down, we needed him, blah, blah, but for me, I completely fair.
Yeah, and I'm on the same page as you are, because the people that'll argue, and this is just a general people, I'm not categorizing anybody because I don't know who's saying what, but the people that will sit here and be like, he should have stayed calm in that moment, are also the ones that will also in the same breath be like, we need more emotion and personality in baseball. And it's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, you gotta pick a lane when it comes to that. Like, because one conflicts the other if you have that kind of settlement. Like, and it's good to see it. And again, like you said too, I love that family unit analogy. I think that's perfect, because you need somebody to have your teammates back. And in his case today, he had his whole team's back because everybody was frustrated with the umpire. So to see him, and again, just an absolutely, brilliant moment there with the circling of the home plate with the bat and the spike is.
It creates such a better environment, I think, when they know they have a guy who's there for them like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It would really be a shame to see number 40 in a different jersey, and not with the Cubs.
That would be painful.
Yeah. Let's not say will just yet. We're gonna hold out hope just a little bit.
I'm actually such a hopeful person as well.
Yeah. We're gonna be like that little kid, that little gif on Twitter when he's like, "Oh, please, like across the fingers." Like
that will be me.
That's every Cubs fan hoping that Wilson Contreras stays. But
fingers crossed.
Yeah, finger crossed indeed. But I mean, overall, even the bullpen today, not the greatest day. I know everybody loved the Gelman moment.
It was fun.
Yeah, it keeps the game light, especially when
I think at that time you needed something, right? So that was enjoyable.
it was a
Easy little
good,
bit of joy.
yeah, it was a good little giggle for everybody watching. But I mean, really, the pitching wasn't great today. Kyle's final line was 5 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs, all earned. Only 2 walks, 3 Ks, but 4 home runs. And I think they said on the broadcast, I think that ties his career high in the start of home runs
I
given
mean,
up.
it doesn't surprise me. He's not somebody who normally goes off like that. So
Yeah,
it's been a
wasn't
funny
great.
year for him though.
It has,
Already.
yes,
I mean, I know we're only early on, but
yeah, it's been
it's
weird.
not been the start you want to see.
Yeah, he'll go throw 8 2/3 of shutout
Yeah,
ball in
that was
San Diego,
unreal.
and
I was
then
texting a friend of mine who's a Phillies fan who was watching the game today. He's like, "Tell me about Hendricks." I was like, "So good, underrated pitcher." And then I see that, and I was like, "I promise, I'm
you're
not
like,
lying to
I
you."
swear, go look at his last like 2 starts. Like it's
I'm like,
there. We've
"Please."
seen it. Like this guy won the ERA, title back in
So
2016.
good.
Like, but yeah, weird year
Yeah.
for Kyle Hendricks so
Yeah.
far, and just kind of where
Well, I
he's
know he's trying
been.
to change stuff up over the winter, so maybe that's the impact of that. Who
Maybe.
knows?
Well, and I think too, like with the baseballs being different, I feel like that has to
Mm.
affect, especially pitchers that rely on feel, right? Like it's just like I'm trying to think of like a good analogy in terms of like feel. It would be the equivalent of in football, in your football.
Yeah,
Obviously, we say a little different here, but
nice.
like it would be like changing the size of the ball. Like
Yeah,
that's going to immediately affect how a
yeah, hugely.
player puts it. Can put a bend on a kick.
Yeah.
Just the angle he takes to make a certain pass. Like, and even just ball handling in general. Like that's going to
Hmm.
change it, right? It's all
Yeah.
about feel. For a pitcher like Kyle Hendricks, it's all about feel. He needs to feel the seams. He needs to be able to get that
Hmm.
changeup working. So, like you said, you couple in changes made in the offseason to what he's doing and a potentially different baseball.
Yeah, which it
Now,
seems
all of a
likely it
sudden,
is. I mean,
yeah.
who really knows? But
Well, Rick Sutcliffe was like hell bent on debunking that with Boog when they were down in Arizona.
I
He
love when he
was,
picks a line. He's like, "You're gonna hear my opinion on this."
he's like, here we go. Now
Yeah.
you need to know what I need to say. But
Big's trying to move it on. He's like, "No."
yeah. And it's true though. Like he gave Boog 2 baseballs. He's like, feel this one.
Yeah.
And Boog's like, okay. And he goes, feel this one. And he goes, okay. And he goes, tell me the difference. And he goes, this one's harder, feels like a cue ball, a little smaller. He goes, yep. And he goes, what about the other one? He goes, I can almost like move the laces. He's like, it's a little like softer. That he goes, yep. He goes, that's the current baseball that would have been used in today's game if it wasn't for Hendricks taking it to the bullpen. He goes, that's the prior ball from the juiced years of baseball. And it's like,
Crazy.
makes a big difference. It makes a really big
Yeah,
difference. It's like,
100%.
I mean, like, could you imagine if they like in tennis, if they changed the size of a tennis ball?
That would be bizarre. Imagine everyone would lose their minds. This is the thing. Like, they just seem to get away with it a bit in baseball.
Yeah. Well,
Things just happen.
MLB owns Rawlings, who makes the
Yeah.
baseballs, so they can get away with it, whether they like it or not,
Yeah.
or whether we like it or not, I should say, because it
Mm.
doesn't punish them. We still go to the
Yeah,
games and give them our hard-earned money to go watch baseball.
it's true. We play ourselves.
Yeah, that happens
Eh,
sometimes. But overall, I mean, not the greatest game. I mean, you certainly don't like seeing your 2 through 5 hitters go over together.
Yeah.
Yeah, 0
Yeah,
for
it
4
wasn't
for
fair.
Willie, 0 for 1 for Jan when he had to come in relief duty. 0 for 3 for Hap. Hap did have a walk, so that helps.
Yeah.
But Schwindel 0 for 4, Rivas 0 for 4. Just
Doesn't make good reading, does it?
no, doesn't look good. It doesn't look good when you're 7, 8, 9 hitters are like carrying your team
Against the D-backs at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it happens. It happens.
It
But
does. It does happen. And I
for
think tomorrow could be completely different.
I think that's actually a perfect transition. I do want to turn it back over to you really quickly and just ask any other final thoughts from the game. Definitely one that we as Cubs fans want to put in the rear view. We'll still appreciate, Fergie, and I think the Wilson Contreras bat spike is going to be talked about for probably the next week. But any other final thoughts on today's game?
I think we covered most of it. I do think that Willie bat flip, that's going to be a favourite gif for quite a while, especially this season. But
I certainly hope
no,
so.
I enjoyed watching it because I knew I'd be here. So it was an enjoyable evening overall.
Yes, it was. And like I said, I was pumped coming in today regardless. I was like, new special guests. Like we've gotten Dubs on. We're trying to get more
Love
guests
Dubs.
from. Oh, Dubs is the man. I absolutely love Dubs. I need the Cubs to win a game, and the reason I
Yes.
say it is because. So there's a handful of us in a fantasy baseball league. So
Okay.
it's our friend Cody Delmendo, former Cubs on
Oh,
Tap member.
CHGO.
Yes, former one of my good buddies. Baseball Boosh from the Dingers group. Mitch also with
Jake.
the Dingers group. Yes, Jake. Yeah, Jake
Yes.
Boosh, and as well as Joey's in it with myself. So it's the Cubs on Tap guys. And Dubs is in our fantasy baseball league as well, and he shared his next. So you've seen the video, right, where he's running down the street with the W
Yeah.
flag when they win. He's got a new iteration of it, and
Oh,
I
no.
need them to win a game because he hasn't been able to use it yet. So I'm very excited because we got the little sneak peek. So shout out to Dubs. He's on vacation.
Oh, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, he's down in Florida. He's enjoying himself.
He's always having a good time. Like,
I know.
it's
So
Dubs.
jealous. That man's got it going on. But Dubs is the man.
He
But
knows what's up, but
he's a gem. But again, we're trying to get as many Cubs Twitter personalities on here as possible, and have a rotating panel of people that can come in and join us throughout the year. And
it's fun. You get different points of view.
Absolutely. And it's really fun to get a point of view from literally a whole nother country. I think that's my favorite part. And again, you and I have been back and forth now for like 2 months on Twitter. When something bad happens, we're just like, oh hell, what the hell?
Jesus Christ.
What was that today? Yeah. I think my favorite message to get from, and this is for the listeners here, what I say from Rachel, is the bloody hell. Just that's all it is. Just bloody hell. Fuck. What is
I wake
this?
up for work at like 5:30 in the morning. I see the score and I'm just like, bloody hell.
Was it that bad? And it's like, it was that bad. Or it's like, oh, I'm gonna rewatch that one later when I get home. And it's like, yeah, you should.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Worth it.
There's been a few of those. There's been a few.
There has. There was just the other night, Monday and Tuesday, and now it feels like an eon since they've won a game. But
it does.
It's only
tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes, and I think that's a perfect time for us to turn our attentions to pretty much the rest of the weekend. So we at Cubs on Tap typically don't do Saturday shows. Saturdays are for cracking them with your friends and having a good time, and we partake in that as much as possible here. But tomorrow, pitching matchup: Madison Bumgarner. Hilarious that this dude is still pitching. Not in a bad way. He's still really good. 2.29
He's
ERA
still
this
doing
year.
well, yeah.
Yeah, he's having a really good year. But he'll take the bump against Justin Steele tomorrow. And then on Sunday, it'll be the big man Wade Miley, who I'm just loving every time I hear that name.
That last game
was electric, absolutely electric. But he will go against Merrill Kelly on Sunday. Both of those are 1:20 local time in Chicago starts. So for you, that's like 7:20, right? Give or take?
7:20 p.m. Perfect.
Beautiful. So little Saturday and Sunday night baseball. Nice. That's pretty sweet.
It's a really UK friendly series, this one. So
yes,
I
was gonna say every Wrigley weekend series will always be friendly because 1:20.
That's why the Cubs are another reason they're so good to support.
That's true. I was gonna say one of the few teams that consistently plays day games all weekend. Usually it's just your Sundays. Usually our friends over on the South Side, it's like 7:10 on Friday nights, usually 6:10 on Saturdays, and then 1:10 on Sundays.
See, where would I be?
Yeah,
lost.
Weird. Cubs, it's just 1:20. There's nothing better than a Friday 1:20 pitch at Wrigley Field in like the middle of June or even in August, which I know is when you are slated to make your first trip to the friendly confines. So you'll love
Friday
it.
1:20.
Just like go find a spot in Wrigley that's like not too dirty and just like lay there and just like soak it all in.
Dirty.
Just soak it all in. But I will turn it back over to you really quick. Any little preview just for these next two games coming up, and any thoughts that you have?
I think Justin Steele is going to kill it, and I think he's going to wear 4 chains this time.
I love that.
It's been increasing. I'm going for the 4
every game.
Every game it goes up.
There's gonna be one game when he comes out with just like 7 of them, and it's just gonna be like, dude, like, how can you even pitch? Yeah, how can you even pitch?
Wave down. No, I don't think the Wade Miley one should be really good. That last game was fantastic, genuinely so good. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I think he's gonna really kill it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm very excited as well. Also worth noting, this is the first time through the Cubs rotation that they've had their effectively what we thought could be their 5 starters.
Oh, of
Um,
course.
with Stroh taking the bump yesterday, today was
Mm,
Kyle, and then you got Justin, you got Wade, and then it
mm,
probably will be Drew Smiley on Monday in
yeah,
Cincinnati. So it's your
understand.
it's your it's your true 5 for
Yeah,
really the first time all season, which is crazy. But
see how that goes.
hey, Cubs are what since May 8th, like the best ERA in baseball, or at least in the NL, I think it is.
Second best?
Yeah, they're up there. Pitching's been
Bull,
better.
bullpen ERA was second best. General starting EPA was fourth. ERA was fourth, I think.
There you
I
go.
think it was that.
I think
That's
you were
good
right.
though. It's good.
Yeah, we'll run with it. Nonetheless, they've been really good. So
It's good.
hopefully they can continue that throughout really May here, and then as the summer rolls on, it feels like a marathon of a season already, and we're only in mid-May.
It's crazy baseball. That daily baseball, and then you miss a single day, and you just feel like, where am I?
Right, and you're just
What
like,
do I do with this day now?
what did I miss?
Yeah.
Like days there's not a Cubs game, you're like, what?
Yeah, it's so strange. It's like withdrawal. I'm like, "Oh, what am I gonna
Yeah.
do?"
And fun fact, actually, a week from today, the Cubs have an off day on a Friday, which is really weird.
Oh,
I don't know how I feel about that. It's very
that's
strange.
a bit gross. Although UK friendly game the day before.
It's true. That is true. Very UK friendly, actually.
Very. That's
That
really
one's
early.
that one's like dinner time for you guys
Yeah,
over there. So
5:30.
yeah, that's magic. Yeah,
Must be like breakfast for you
it's 11:30 game. Yeah, there might be people just rolling out of
on
bed.
a Thursday. How weird.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's getaway day. It's getaway day out of Cincinnati, and that's usually why they do that. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I'm actually off of work that day, so I literally might
perfect.
be rolling out of bed for first pitch. So
As long as you get to see it, it'll be
yeah,
fine.
we'll cross our fingers there and see
Yeah,
what happens. But um, well, I will say again, absolute pleasure getting to have you on. I know again, thank you for taking time out of your Friday night to join me and talk about the game. We'll get you on for a winner. It's gonna happen.
yes,
It's
it's
gonna
gonna
happen before the
happen.
season's over.
100%. Like I have no doubt. I still see
Yes.
us going over 5.5. Sorry, it's gonna happen.
I love it. I love it.
It's
Hey,
gonna happen.
that's the mentality we gotta have. But
Hmm.
do you want to let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter and interact with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had kind of on two Twitters. I have at Cub Rachel, which is kind of like my one where I shout about things, and then I had the UK Chicago Cubs fans page, which is more of a well, I still shout about things, but I share it with another guy, and we kind of represent UK Cubs fans over there.
I love it. Yeah, and it's a fun account to follow. Absolutely worth following for anybody that maybe doesn't. And again, I feel like a lot of people don't even know how passionate the UK MLB community is. So I think
Big.
I encourage everybody to learn about it, interact. Again, you guys are all incredibly passionate fans, and it's so cool to see, right? When like you're not local, but yet you
Mm.
still keep up with the team just as if you lived on the north side of Chicago or you lived in the surrounding suburbs of the Chicagoland area. So
All in,
it
all
is
in.
super cool to see, and I love it. And seriously, thank you for jumping on. And
Thank you for having me
before
on.
before we get out of here, I do want to remind everybody, Cubs on Tap, the official Cubs podcast, the On Tap Sports Network. Check us out, ontapsportsnet.com, at On Tap Sports on social media. I am at Loose on Tap. Juice on Tap. Joey knows nothing. Ends in IN. That stands for win, baby. Everybody knows it if you've seen his On Tap Bets videos. Cubs on Tap page itself, you can find us Twitter and Instagram. We are at Cubbies on Tap because somebody stole Cubs on Tap from us, and it is what it is. Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks, we got it all. www.ontapsports.com, at On Tap Sports, on social media, On Tap Sports Network. Go ahead and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Rachel, this was an absolute blast. Thank you so much
So
for
much fun.
joining me.
Thank
We'll
you for having me
absolutely
on.
have we'll
So
absolutely have
honored.
you on at another point as well. Hopefully the next time we can have a little bit of a bigger gang. It won't just be you and I. Maybe we can get Joey and Juice
Yeah, it'd
and
be
the
really
whole
cool.
crew.
It'll be a win.
And yeah, and it absolutely, and it'll be a W. But
100%.
Rachel, what do you say we get out of here? Let's go,
Let's
Cubbies.
do it.